And Eala, it's been quite a thrill ride for her this last year as well. She had some great results.
Tennis world shocked. Something worth far more attention happened 2 days ago. Miami Open tournament director James Blake sat with Tennis Channel.
I think the international interest in both of them is so high.
And confirmed that Alex Eala, ranked number 29, not even top 10, gets automatic center court placement at this year's event.
We're going to need them to be on center court because they have so many fans worldwide.
Not because of her seed, because her fan base has been physically breaking venues all season, and he's done being surprised by it. The Australian Open stuck her on a court built for 400 people. Fans stood in the aisles. Dubai sold out every single match before she'd confirmed attendance. At Indian Wells last week, her supporters sat in blankets past midnight, refusing to leave. Blake essentially looked at that track record and decided he'd rather not manage another crowd emergency in Miami. Quietly, some WTA stars are furious. Women grinding through qualifiers, defending ranking points at every stop, watching a 20-year-old collect VIP treatment that the actual ranking system was never designed to hand out. Coco, Goff's Dubai speech thanking Eala for bringing a new demographic.
I'd like to thank Alex for bringing a new demographic to the sport. I really appreciate it.
While absorbing a crowd cheering against her wasn't quite as gracious as it sounded.
I know you were mostly supporting Alex, but it is great to be on a crowded court. I played this tournament for many years, and to see the stadium full, it means a lot.
Jessica Pegula literally asked, where did these people come from?
The whole crowd was against me, and I was like, what on earth is going on? Like, where did these people come from?
In Miami, of all places. Subscribe before this gets messier, because the draw dropped just hours ago, and Miami is already going crazy. So the draw is out. Let's get into what it actually means. Eala enters as the 31st seed, sitting at a career-high number 29 in the world as of the WTA rankings released this morning, March 16th, a rise of 3 spots from where she stood just a week ago. Earned through her round of 16 finish at Indian Wells. Her opening match in Miami will be against the winner of Laura Siegemund of Germany, ranked 53rd, against Petra Marcinko of Croatia, ranked 76th. Neither represents a serious threat on paper, but Eala dropped a 6-2, 6-0 bagel to Linda Noskova at Indian Wells when her game didn't show up, and this draw will not stay manageable. For long past that first match, 1 round later, Iga Swiatek is sitting in her bracket. The same Swiatek she dismantled 6-2, 7-5 in last year's quarterfinals right here in Miami. That win, a 20-year-old wildcard, ranked 140th, breaking a 5-time major champion 4 times in the opening set, while Swiatek racked up 19 unforced errors, is what launched all of this. The fan base, the center court demand, the friction in the locker room. It started in that match. The draw has handed them a potential rematch in the round of 32, barely 3 matches into the tournament. The same section also includes number 9, Victoria Mboko, number 10, Mira Andreeva, number 14, Karolina Muchova, and number 16, Clara Tauson. It is not a gentle draw. It is the draw of a player the tournament respects enough to put in a section worth watching. There is a number sitting over all of this that doesn't get discussed enough alongside the crowd footage, 390. That's the exact number of ranking points Eala earned during her 2025 semifinal run here. Under the WTA's 52-week rolling system, those points expire the moment this tournament begins. They represent roughly 1/4 of the 1,525 points, currently holding her inside the top 30. Fail to reach the semifinals again, and she doesn't just stall, she drops hard. A quarterfinal exit means losing more than she gains from the result. A first match loss despite the bye advantage means the WTA rulebook awards only 10 points, costing her approximately 380 net. At that point, projections put her back somewhere between 50th and 60th in the world, back to where she started this calendar year. Winning the title, on the other hand, delivers an additional 610 points, which would place her inside the top 20. When asked directly about that top 20 ambition ahead of Miami, she said, "Yes, that's exactly my goal. I'm trying to approach it, though I can't speak for the future and what will actually happen when I arrive." That is a measured answer from someone who has learned not to put a ceiling on her own potential. while also understanding that the WTA Tour punishes complacency faster than it rewards momentum. The consistency argument is worth examining carefully here because the narrative around Eala has been getting one-sided. Her 2026 season has not been a clean upward line. She started January in Auckland, reaching the semi-finals of the ASB Classic before losing to Wang Xinyu. She then made her Australian Open main draw debut and lost in the first round to Alicia Parks. Back home in Manila, she competed in the inaugural Philippine Women's Open as a wild card and reached the quarterfinals before falling to eventual champion Camila Osorio. At Abu Dhabi, she went deep to the quarterfinals before losing to Ekaterina Alexandrova. Then came the Qatar Open, a first-round exit against Teresa Valentova, a player ranked well outside the top 50. Dubai partially rescued the Middle East swing. She beat number 7 Jasmine Paolini to record her first top 10 win of 2026, then reached the quarterfinals before Coco Gauff handed her a 6-0, 6-2 loss. At Indian Wells, she had Gauff down 6-2, 2-0 in the round of 32 when Gauff retired with an arm injury, a win that counted but was never really tested. Then Noskova closed her out 6-2, 6-0 in the round of 16. That is the full picture. Big wins interspersed with days where she gets rolled. The gap between Eala at her sharpest and Eala on a poor day is still wider than it should be for a player looking to anchor herself in the top 20. Miami will test both versions. The WTA race table, however, tells a more encouraging story. She currently sits 24th in accumulated 2026 season points, ahead of Madison Keys, Emma Raducanu, and Naomi Osaka through the same stretch of the year. Those are Grand Slam champions. Whatever the swings in form, her aggregate output across events has been competitive with the most decorated names on the tour. The depth of that is worth noting because it suggests the floor has risen even when the ceiling has been inconsistent. What the tour also cannot ignore, and what Blake was essentially admitting in that Tennis Channel interview, is that Eala is operating in a different commercial and logistical reality from almost everyone else in the draw. The Miami Open runs inside a football stadium. Hard Rock Stadium is not a purpose-built tennis facility. It is rebuilt each year inside the Dolphins' home on a temporary basis, with infrastructure that was designed around NFL crowds who show up and then leave. Managing an unexpected surge in attendance for a specific player on a court that was not allocated for that level of demand is not something any tournament director wants to discover mid-match. Blake watched that happen to other venues this season and stated plainly he had no interest in repeating someone else's scheduling mistake. That is not sentiment. It is operational risk management dressed up as a compliment. It is worth understanding just how far Eala's presence on tour has outrun her ranking in terms of commercial footprint over the past 12 months. Her French Open debut in 2025 ended in the first round against Emiliana Arango. Her Wimbledon debut saw her take the first set 6-3 against defending champion Barbara Krejcikova on center court, then lose the second and third in a collapse. Her US Open run produced the first Grand Slam main draw singles victory by a Filipino player in the Open era, beating Clara Tauson in the first round before losing to Cristina Butza in the second. None of those results, on paper, look like the profile of a player commanding stadium billing at a WTA 1000. The crowds don't care about the paper. The Filipino diaspora in particular, Miami has one of the most established Filipino communities in the United States, has been turning up with a consistency that overrides seedings and scheduling logic. Blake is not making a sentimental gesture by putting her on center court. He is acknowledging that ignoring the demographic reality would be a bigger management problem than accommodating it. The broader situation around Eala and how the tour handles her is genuinely new territory. The WTA does not have a formal mechanism to grant center court placement based on fan base size. Seedings drive court assignments, not Instagram reach or diaspora geography. What Blake confirmed publicly is that Miami is explicitly stepping outside that conventional framework. Other players have noticed. The ones deep in the qualifying bracket, grinding for ranking points at every stop just to stay eligible for these main draws, are watching a 20-year-old receive stadium billing not because of where she sits in the rankings, but because her supporters abroad fill venues before the schedule is even finalized. That tension is real, and it does not disappear after this tournament. A deep Miami run makes it considerably louder heading into the clay season. The Swiatek dimension adds another layer that the draw has made unavoidable. Coming into Miami, Swiatek has dropped to number 3 in the world, down from the position she held for most of the past 4 years. A loss to Eala here last year was part of a broader difficult stretch. A potential rematch in the round of 32 on center court, with the crowd dynamics already confirmed to tilt in Eala's direction, is not a comfortable setup for the former world number 1. Swiatek's coach will absolutely be preparing for that scenario. Whether they get there depends on Eala handling Sigamon or Martinko cleanly in the opening round first, something she cannot take for granted given her inconsistency this season against opponents she is expected to beat comfortably. On the defending champions side, Aryna Sabalenka arrives in Miami having just won Indian Wells, her 23rd career WTA title, completing the Sunshine Double she failed to finish last year. She is number 1 in the world and has already won this tournament. Jessica Pegula, who beat Eala 6-3 in the 3rd set of last year's semifinal, is also in the draw. So are Goff, Elena Rybakina, and Mira Andreeva, who at 18 already claimed 2 WTA 1000 titles in 2025. This is not a softened field that Eala can navigate on giant-killing chemistry alone. If she reaches the final stages, it will be because she earned every match, not because anyone underestimated her. One more complicating factor that no one is discussing yet: the clay season starts immediately after Miami. The Linz Open in Austria arrives in April, where Eala is already seeded 32nd. Then the French Open in May. Eala's 2025 clay results were uniformly poor. A first-round loss at Roland Garros, early exits in Madrid and Rome, almost no points accumulated across the entire surface. If Miami ends badly and the clay season repeats the same pattern, she is looking at a ranking collapse that would cost her automatic Grand Slam entry and pull her back below the top 50 before summer. The next 6 weeks are not just about defending 390 points. They are about proving the ranking is structurally real and not built entirely on one tournament's worth of points from 12 months ago. Main draw action starts Tuesday, March 17th. Eala opens her campaign in the second round on March 19th or 20th. The final is March 28th, 12 days. That window contains either the confirmation of everything the last year has built or the first serious test of whether it holds. If you've made it this far, you already know this channel covers the angles that the mainstream coverage skips. Subscribe and turn notifications on now, because the moment Eala walks onto that center court in Miami, this story moves faster than any recap article can keep up with. Every single round of this draw has a headline in it. Don't find out 3 days late.